He wore a badge. He carried a gun. He swore an oath to protect people. And then he went home and became the very monster he was supposed to hunt. For years, he sat across from grieving families. He looked them in the eyes. He promised he would find the killer. He already knew who it was, because the killer was him. This is not fiction. This is not a movie. This is the true story of Gerard Schaefer, the American police officer who became one of the most disturbing serial killers in United States history. And the most terrifying part? He was never supposed to be caught. Martin County, Florida, 1972. Gerard Schaefer was everything a police officer should be. Tall, confident, well-spoken, respected by his colleagues, trusted by his community. He had a clean record, a stable career, a normal life on the surface. But the people who knew him best described something different, something cold behind his eyes, something that made them uncomfortable in a way they couldn't explain. His own police chief, Crowder, would later say he had a bad feeling about Schaefer from the very beginning. But feelings aren't evidence. And Gerard Schaefer knew that better than anyone. He was a cop after all. July 1972. Schaefer was on duty, patrolling the streets of Martin County. He offered two teenage girls a ride. 17-year-old Pamela Wells, 18-year-old Nancy Trotter. They trusted him. He was a police officer. Instead of taking them home, he drove them to a remote wooded area. He handcuffed them to a tree. He left them there alone, in the middle of the forest. He told them he would be back. Somehow they escaped. They reported him immediately. Schaefer was arrested the same day. His police chief suspended him. He was charged with assault. Most people assumed his career was over. Most people assumed he had learned his lesson. Nobody assumed he would kill. They were wrong. Here is where this story becomes truly horrifying. While Schaefer was out on bail, awaiting trial for the assault charges, he killed again. September 1972. Two more teenage girls. Georgia Jessup, 17 years old. Susan Place, 16 years old. They were last seen getting into a car with a man they described as friendly and trustworthy. They were never seen alive again. Their remains were found months later, in a remote forest area, less than a mile from where he had left the first two girls. The evidence was horrifying. The method was calculated. The location was deliberate. This was not a crime of impulse. This was a man who had done this before and planned to do it again. When detectives searched Schaefer's home, what they found was beyond disturbing. Jewelry belonging to missing women, teeth, personal belongings, hundreds of pages of written fantasies describing violence against women in graphic detail, photographs, passports, driver's licenses, items that belonged to women who had never been found. Detectives believed Schaefer had killed at least 30 women, possibly more. But here was the most chilling part of the entire investigation. Some of these women had been reported missing to the very police department where Schaefer worked. Had he seen those reports? Had he sat in the same office, reading about his own victims? Had he looked his colleagues in the eye knowing what he had done? The answer almost certainly was yes. Gerard Schaefer stood trial in 1973. The evidence was overwhelming. The details were horrifying. The courtroom was silent for most of the testimony. He was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder, sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in prison. But investigators always believed the real number of victims was far higher. Schaefer himself hinted at this in letters he wrote from prison. Twisted letters, boastful letters, letters that described details only the killer would know. He claimed to have killed 34 women and girls, 34 families who may never have gotten real answers. Part 6, Inside Prison, 7:30 to 8:30. Even behind bars, Gerard Schaefer remained dangerous. He wrote graphic novels from his cell. He sold disturbing artwork. He corresponded with journalists, true crime writers, and other convicted killers, including Ted Bundy. The 2 men exchanged letters and reportedly discussed their crimes in detail. 2 of America's most disturbing serial killers, writing letters to each other from their prison cells. Schaefer never showed remorse. He never apologized. He never revealed the full truth about all his victims. He seemed to enjoy the attention, the notoriety, the fear he still created, even from behind bars. On December 3, 1995, Gerard Schaefer was found dead in his prison cell, stabbed multiple times, his throat cut. His cellmate, another convicted murderer, was charged with the killing the man who had terrorized Florida for years, died violently in a prison cell. Some called it justice. Some called it karma. His surviving victims called it not enough, because Gerard Schaefer took his full list of victims to his grave. Families who still don't have answers. Women who were never found. Cases that remain officially open to this day. He was a police officer. He was supposed to protect people. Instead, he hunted them. And the badge he wore made him the last person anyone suspected. That is the most disturbing truth of all. If this case shook you, you need to subscribe to Crime Crypt. Every single week, we go deeper into the cases that will make you question everything you thought you knew about the people around you. The next case is already waiting for you. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and stay with Crime Crypt, where dark secrets come to light. Skull.